I am Supreme. Today's Astro Oracle investigation will be on the legendary American rapper, author, and producer best known as one half of the iconic hardcore East Coast hip hop duo MOBB DEEP, PRODIGY. Widely regarded as one of the most influential and technically proficient lyricists in hip-hop history, his blunt, gritty realism and cold, stoic delivery shaped the sound of New York's underground rap scene in the 1990s. He tragically passed away on June 20th, 2017 at the age of 42. Now, it was said that he choked off of an egg. So this is why my viewers and subscribers has suggested this content. Shouts out to Cheyenne Owens, who is a regular when it comes to suggesting content, and I appreciate you. I appreciate all of my viewers and subscribers for suggesting content. And as you see, I do add your suggestions to my itinerary. Now, there's a lot of us that want to know what really happened with Prodigy from MOBB DEEP. Did he really choke off of an egg? So, let's talk a little bit about the MOBB DEEP era. Now, the partnership that formed MOBB DEEP with Havoc after meeting at Manhattan's High School of Art and Design in the early 1990s. Now, The Breakthrough released the groundbreaking album The Infamous in 1995. It featured the legendary track Shook Ones, Part 2, which boasts one of the most famous opening lines and beats in hip-hop history. Now, hardcore classics followed up with definitive, uncompromising street albums like Hell on Earth and Murder Music in 1999. Now, let's talk about the solo career and collaborations. HNIC dropped his debut soul album in 2000, showcasing a more introspective, conscious side with standouts like Keep It Thorough. The Alchemists developed a highly acclaimed long-running collaborative chemistry with producer The Alchemist, resulting in projects like Return of the Mac 2007 and Albert Einstein 2013. Let's talk about Prodigy's health struggles and passing. Now, Prodigy suffered a lifelong battle, diagnosed with sickle cell anemia, SS type. At 3 months old, the severe chronic pain and frequent hospitalizations heavily influenced the dark, paranoid imagery of his music. Let's talk about his tragic death. He died in Las Vegas while hospitalized for a sickle cell crisis, with the official cause determined to be accidental choking of an egg. Now, the reason why people are having a hard time believing that he choked off of an egg is because Prodigy wasn't just a famous singer and songwriter. He was also a conscious being who was conscious of a lot of secrets that the world and the government try so hard to hide. Prodigy was well known for exposing the hidden. So, when you hear the word Illuminati, everybody's eyes lighten up. Some people's faces flinch up. Because a lot of people really don't understand what Illuminati is. And some people, they do understand what Illuminati is. And what Prodigy's whole intention was to get the world to understand, he was trying to clear up the fact that a lot of people who claim to know about the Illuminati, they really don't. And Prodigy had a way of breaking down what the Illuminati was in simple everyday conversations, which exposed the unconsciousness of humanity that became the source of all this controversy, racism, and all of these things that people are against each other. Prodigy had a way of breaking it all down to simple terms. For example, when he talked a lot about people's attitude at the end of the day plays a major role in however the world sees them overall. It also plays a major role on manifestations in your life. So this is how Prodigy broke things down, and he made perfect sense. But of course, you know, this so-called people who are ambassadors of Illuminati, you know, I'm going to show you something. I have a tattoo. A lot of y'all have seen it. I have a tattoo. This is supposed to be like an Illuminati tattoo. When people see this, okay? This is the spiritual eye. Some people call it the eye of Ra. You know, there's so many different things that people call it. But when somebody asks me, what is that tattoo you have? I have many tattoos. But this one, a lot of people question. What is that tattoo that you have? One thing about me, I know how to break everything. I don't just do things because of the way it makes me look. I actually know how to break everything down that I do. Everything written on me has a story. It has a meaning. I just don't do things to make myself look like a part of a particular organization or crowd, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really about the life that I live. So when somebody asks me, what is that spiritual eye? What is that eye? They don't even know it's a spiritual eye, but they feel like, what is that symbol for? You know, and I tell them in a nutshell, it's much the spiritual eye. It's, in a nutshell, is that I can see God. I can see what's really going on. I can see how it all works. And because of that, I can also see the enemy of God. I can also see the enemy of the way it all works. We do have an enemy on this planet. We do have an enemy. Okay? And the enemy is against how things actually work. You know, these people, they're very disgusting creatures. You know, they have a desire, a hunger for power. They're power hungry. For whatever reason, you're power hungry. Power hungry is a clear sign of scarred generations. These people are scarred. These people have a lot of self-hate, and they project that on the world, and they make up for it by being power hungry, because they're uncomfortable sitting with themselves and being content with food, shelter, and clothing and family life. Take care of your family. Sit the fuck down somewhere. Okay? Take care of your family. Love your family. Act like you have a mother. Act like you have a family. Act like you are human. And leave everybody else the fuck alone so everybody can do the same thing. For some reason, these power-hungry individuals are way too uncomfortable in their own skin to sit down somewhere and make a living for themselves just like the rest of us are trying to do. They're the most disgusting people on this fucking planet because they're very uncomfortable. One way or the other, you have to learn how to be human. I don't care where you come from. Whether you come from another galaxy somewhere out there in West Bubblefuck. Whether you come from Saturn, Pluto, Sirius A, Sirius B. Whether you're an Andromedan, whatever the fuck you are. You need to wake up and realize you're on Earth and you're a human. And on this Earth, you're in a school. The human school. You're human. So you need to learn how to be human. And stop running away from that. Trying to be so power hungry. Stop trying to take over the fucking world. And learn how to find your place. Get in your place. And take care of yourself. And stop trying to be bigger and better than everybody else. Whatever you was appointed to do, you need to focus on doing that. And stop trying to take the fuck over. Because it's really fucking disgusting. There's a lot of people in positions of authority that should not be there. They're making all of our skin crawl. It's very disgusting. When you see another human that eats, sleep, and shit just like you. That has to take care of everyday duties just like you. And you just sitting up there trying to call yourself hiding shit and trying to be so incognito. And what is this all about, hiding the truth? I never understood that. Who hides the fucking truth? Why don't you want nobody knowing the truth? Like, they go through hell and high water to control a society of people that they do not want to know the truth. That's the most disgusting shit ever. If there's anything on this planet that I've realized is the most disgusting, it is this group of people that are trying to take over. Oh my God. My skin has never crawled so much. Just the thought of there being a generation of people that are like that. And then you have people like Prodigy who are exposing the truth, which is something that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to teach the children the truth. But for some reason, there are people on this planet that have a different agenda. And boy, the depths of their agenda will make anybody's skin crawl. They're the most disgusting people on this planet. That's my story, and I'm sticking to that. And I don't give a fuck what they say, because I'm going to expose the truth. Let's get to Prodigy. Let's get to the official cause of death. So it was an accidental choking. The Clark County Medical Examiner's Office finalized the investigation into his June 20th, 2017 passing and determined that the 42-year-old rapper choked off of an egg while hospitalized. Now, in this reading that I'm going to do, of course, I'm not going to be able to point out the fact that, there's the egg, and see he's choking off of it, and I'm not making fun. It's not a funny thing, because he just may have choked off of an egg. And if he did, I will be able to see why, but I won't be able to see the egg and point it out and say, this is him choking right here, over here in the fourth house on the egg, not nothing like that, But what I do understand is that energy, frequency, and vibration plays a major role on whatever manifests in our life. So a lot of times our energy could be thrown off. There are wicked witches and just wicked spiritual artists and craftsmen that know how to throw your energy off. And when your energy is thrown off, so is your manifestation, because energy is the root of manifestation. So when somebody has the power to throw your energy off, that person can literally cause you to get into an accident. They can cause you to trip and fall and break your neck. Okay? They can cause you to choke off of your dinner. And it's not this person that's doing it. It's the fact that they shifted your energy. And now everything is out of whack and out of alignment until you realign your energy. So everything will get back to running smoothly, including you eating and everything properly going down your throat. And that, a lot of things that happen throughout our daily life throws our energy off. This is where a lot of these chaotic manifestations, such as car accidents and fights and confrontations and, the choking off of a simple food product that we've been eating all of our lives, and all of a sudden you can die from choking off of a meal or an egg, so our energy gets thrown off. So what's definitely going to show up in this reading is what threw his rhythm off. Okay? Because we all suffer from our rhythm being thrown off, even by the media. Okay, everybody's rhythm today has been thrown off. Okay, but you got to save yourself. You got to learn how to get back into rhythm, how to save your energy, how to get your energy back right. That's all you have to do, because energy is a manifester. Once you get it back right, it's going to manifest righteous activities in your life. It's going to manifest smooth activities in your life. You just got to know how to keep it on track, because you live in a world where people are constantly trying to throw you off. They're throwing your rhythm off. They're throwing your energy off. They're throwing your frequency off and your vibration. That's all they have to do. Okay? And it's going to naturally manifest chaos in your life. Okay, so just like people whose houses catch on fire due to a simple cooking accident, that's because their energy was thrown off. And this person will tell you, I cook every day, but for some reason that particular day, I put the stove on. I was tired coming home from work, and I put some hot dogs on the stove or whatever, and I just closed my eyes, and next thing you know, the house blew up. That's because their energy was thrown off. Their rhythm was thrown off. Okay, that's just an example of how people can actually die of choking off of an egg. So I'm going to get down to the bottom of what threw his rhythm off, because I saw it in the charts, and I'm going to give it to you right here, raw and uncut. I am supreme. I am a high-ranking astro-oracle psychic investigator. I am about to conduct a high-ranking astro-oracle psychic investigation on Prodigy from MOBB Deep. I have been given the authority to communicate with the living and the dead, as you will soon see. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell button so you'll be notified when I drop my high-ranking Astro Oracle investigations. So let's talk about the hospitalization of Prodigy, because remember, he suffers from sickle cell, so he's frequently in and out the hospitals. So Prodigy was admitted to a Las Vegas hospital a few days prior following a MOBB Deep performance at the Art of Rap tour. Extreme desert heat reaching 110 degrees had triggered a severe flare-up of his sickle cell anemia. Mind you, his sickle cell alone already threw his rhythms off in life. So he had to do a lot more to stay focused on keeping his energy right than the average healthy individual. A genetic blood disorder he battled since birth. That's what sickle cell anemia is. So his energy and vibration was already thrown off by this sickle cell at birth. So he still managed to live a very intelligent life, because he knew how to keep his energy in check. While receiving treatment for the sickle cell crisis, he accidentally choked on an egg provided during his hospital stay. Following his death, his family filed a lawsuit against the hospital, alleging that medical staff breached their duty of care by failing to properly monitor his oxygen levels and maintain working IV access during the emergency. That makes a lot of sense, because that can definitely throw off the rhythm too. Lack of proper oxygen, okay, and hydration, which is the IV levels to keep you hydrated, so everything can run smoothly, so you can eat correctly, even a simple egg, so you don't choke while trying to digest the egg or the food that you can choke off of. So choking off of an egg is definitely possible. Now let's pull the charts. Prodigy was born November 2nd, 1974. And he died June 20th, 2017. Now, the day he was born, the sun was in Scorpio and the moon was in Gemini. And when you put a Gemini moon in Scorpio's house, Scorpio actually comes first. And Prodigy is a Scorpio because his sun is here. And he is a powerful Scorpion because his moon is right here in the 8th house, in Scorpio's house, and it's in Gemini. This person right here, Gemini in the 8th house, is a person that's very powerful at information. This person has powerful information and secrets, which is what Prodigy was all about. Anytime you see Gemini, the energy of information in the house of shared resources, power, control, sex, death, and magic, because Scorpio's house also represents the dark arts of spiritual arts and crafts, such as voodoo, witchcraft, black magic, sorcery, all of that is all 8th house. This is also the house of death. So when Gemini is there, the energy of interaction and information, this is like top secret right here. So Prodigy did understand a lot of secrets. And his mission, he felt like, was to expose these secrets. But see, his authority in the music industry, he was an authority figure. And see, the 10th house is the house of authority figures. So most famous people, this is the chart of fame right here. Power and authority. Because Leo, which is the energy of celebration, entertainment, and fame, is in the house of public. This is public fame. This chart right here represents public fame. Public celebrity. Leo is the energy of celebration. So this is also the celebrity. You don't have to be on stage to be a celebrity. The reason why Leo energy is our most famous energy is because Leo represents creativity and the source, the sun. The source from which this creativity comes from. So Leo energy is very creative. These are the people, they naturally are celebrities wherever they are. They're naturally known for who they are and what they know how to do because they have that standout quality because they're very self-centered. And the more self-centered you are, the brighter your aura shines. We all have Leo energy in us, but Leo is the example of that energy. So they were born to shine. Okay, because we all have that power in us. Now, Prodigy's shine is on stage, the 10th house. And Leo loves the stage. And Leo rules the sun. And Prodigy's sun is right here in the first house of Prodigy's image. The first house is the house of image, physical appearance. This is Aries' house. Now, what was so big about his image? Look at where Aries is. It's in the house of work. Prodigy's work was a part of his image. That was his life's work. He was destined to be on stage and to be a star. Now let's get to his death day. The day he died, the sun was in Gemini. The sun was actually in Prodigy's house of death. So that's one sign that it was his time. Because the sun represents time. Literally. The sun is the hour hand. That's why they call it the horoscope. Because it originates from Horus, the god of the sun. Horoscope was Horus's point of view of the circle of life. The point of view represents a scope. That's where the term horoscope comes from. Okay, so the sun, which rules time, was in Gemini, in Prodigy's house of death. So it was his time. Also, the moon was in Taurus. Now, Taurus is the energy of food, shelter, and clothing. And it rules the 5 senses. It rules money and material possessions. Of course, money and material possessions is the manifestation of Taurus energy. Money doesn't exist in nature. Okay? Now, our 5 senses, sight, taste, smell, touch, hearing, exists. And whatever we do with these senses, we create money, we create physical possessions, we create art, we create fashion, we put things together. We make jewelry with the elements of the earth, which is what Taurus energy is about. Gold, silver, the elements, crystals, stuff like that. That's all Taurus energy because it comes from the earth. Oil comes from the earth. That's Taurus energy. Whatever you do with oil represents what appeals to the 5 senses. So, Let's pull that chart. When the moon is in Taurus, you put Taurus moon in Gemini's house, which is the 8th house. Pisces comes first. Now, Pisces is the energy of the hidden. Pisces is the energy of intoxication as well. Pisces is the energy of dreams and imaginations and spirituality. Now, Neptune is the planet that rules Pisces. Neptune is the planet that rules the spirit realm. Everything that is beyond what meets the eye. And we do know that Prodigy had a very deep connection to the etheric realm, which is where his music derived from, the darkness of his physical ailments. When you suffer physically, you naturally are tapped into the spirit realm. The more physical suffering you go through, the more spiritual you are. Because physical defects will always strengthen spiritual development. So Prodigy was definitely spiritually developed. Now let's look at where Neptune was that day. Now Prodigy's Neptune is in Sagittarius, which is right here in the 10th house. So we know that he was famous for Sagittarius energy, which represents higher knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is what he broadcasted, because the 10th house was the house of broadcasting. So if he didn't broadcast it in his raps, he broadcasted it through his podcast and his interviews. That's what Sagittarius is in the 10th house. Sagittarius rules the 9th house. Look who's in the 9th house. Prodigy himself, Scorpio, right there in the 9th house. Now, let's talk about what I saw in these two charts. First, let's look at where Pisces came from. Now, Pisces came from Prodigy's 5th house. Now, the 5th house is Leo's house, where he's on stage. His Leo energy is on stage because he is a star. He's famous. But when Pisces, the energy of the hidden, shows up in Leo's house, this means that Prodigy has some enemies, because Pisces rules the enemy realm. Not the enemy realm because these are bad people, but the enemy realm of what he could not see. Enemies can see what you cannot see. They represent your blind spot. That can go either way, because when a sick person represents your blind spot, that is a treacherous enemy, because they will use your blind spot against you. But you have healthy enemies too, such as people who are supposed to be Illuminati, okay? A healthy one who can see the truth that other people cannot see will teach you. They will not try to withhold the truth to overpower you. That is a sick enemy. So, these enemies lurked in his career because he had a Leo career, which rules fame, being on stage at whatever he did, being an artist. Now, when you look inside a Pisces house, which is the 12th house, you will see Libra, which represents all of these types of relationships, seen and unseen, that circulated in Prodigy's energy that was hidden. These relationships weren't always clear to him. That's what it means when you have Libra in the 12th house. You suffer from a lot of relationships. You will draw a lot of people to you effortlessly, because the 12th house represents the house of no boundaries. There's no filter here. So this type of person with Libra in the 12th house will attract partnerships effortlessly, because their energy of partnership requires discernment. Just because you effortlessly attract people in partnerships does not mean that everybody is good for you and that you are meant to be with that individual. It doesn't mean y'all are compatible. So don't let the effortless ability to attract partnership fool fool you. Discernment is required in Prodigy's Libra energy. Now, look where Libra landed the day Prodigy died. In the house of death. You cannot make this up. There is somebody in partnership with Prodigy. This could be the wife. This can be the girlfriend. This can be the side chick. This could be a guy. This could be a business partner. This could be a travel partner. This could be somebody from his place of work, because Libra is Libra. Partnership is partnership. There are 12 different partnerships a person has. Not just the wife. You have business partners too. You have travel partners too. Okay, you have financial partners, such as organizations that distribute wealth. We're talking about organizations, partnership as an entity. Now, let's follow this partnership by following Venus. Because Venus rules Libra. And it will elaborate on the partnership that landed in the house of death. Venus that day is in Taurus. Now, Taurus is right here in the third house. That's Gemini's house. So there is a link to this Taurus energy. Remember, we went over Taurus energy. Now, Taurus landed in the third house. That's Gemini's house. Now, Gemini is what started Prodigy's energy of death and transition. Do you see that? Now, look what's in Taurus's house, the second house in Prodigy's chart. Sagittarius. Sagittarius is Prodigy's energy of higher knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And it's in his house of money, because Taurus is the second house and it rules money. So he had a very powerful earning capacity that can create a breakthrough. And there are people that are intimidated by that, especially his career partners. Not just the people, but the entities that were circulating in his career that understood his earning capacity. Because this earning capacity for higher knowledge, wisdom, and understanding landed in the 10th house of success. So this was going to succeed. His knowledge, wisdom, and understanding was destined to succeed that day. He was already successful as being an artist. But now, the day he died, his Sagittarius energy was successful. And a lot of people look at that as a threat. I'm hearing voices. I'm hearing voices. I'm hearing voices. I'm going to pull 4 words from these voices for now. 4 words. Talk to me, Prodigy. I'm almost certain this is his voice. Talk to me. All of these decks have been pre-shuffled before I logged on. Talk to me, Prodigy. Talk to me and tell me about what happened to you. What led up to your demise? Talk to me. What threw you off? What threw your rhythms off? If you did choke off of an egg, talk to me and tell me what threw your rhythm off, so we can understand what really happened and not take it at face value. Because the face value of the situation is that he choked off of an egg. And that just might be what happened. He ate an egg and choked off of it. But there is an underlying cause of what manifested him choking off of an egg. And it could have been him being low on oxygen. Like his family said, they weren't monitoring his IV and oxygen levels. That's enough to make anybody choke off of a simplest meal on a spoon. Not just an egg, but you can be picking up a piece of meat on a spoon, putting it in, choking off of it. Because your organs are not working correctly if you don't have enough oxygen. and hydration. It's difficult to swallow correctly. So I'm not outruling him choking off that egg. I'm trying to get down to the bottom of what manifested this. Is it the hospital's fault? Or was something much more darker and sinister? I mean, even if it's the hospital's fault, that's dark enough. But I believe there's something darker along with that that's going along too. A force that played a major role in it as well, that did not want Prodigy alive and well because he was becoming too powerful. Talk about these underlying issues in 4 words. What are these voices that I'm hearing? I'm going to cut the deck and pull these 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I see siblings, messages, and phone calls. This is accurate, and I'm going to show you why. I see romance, and I see colleges and universities. Check this out. I'm going to show you why I was going to get to this. I wrote all of this down already in my paperwork. Arguments with family. I wrote all of this down. Arguments with family. And I saw his kids and his mother was in his energy. Now, threats were made toward his family and children as well. But there was an argument that day, and I'm going to show you why I wrote this down. And I saw it in his chart. Because the day it happened, look what's in the home and family. Gemini, that's interaction. The same interaction that began the transition energy. Now, there was a lot of changes going on that day. I followed Mars because Mars would let me know if there's any aggressive activity that went on that day. Mars that day was in Cancer. Cancer rules the home and the family. Now, look at where Cancer is. It's in the 5th house. The 5th house is the house of romance. That's Leo's house. A romance card came out. Now, this romance, I see the mother. Now, the 5th house is also the house of children. So when Cancer is in the house of children and Cancer rules the mother, this is talking about a romance between him and his baby's mother, his kid's mother. This was also an altercation that took place because Prodigy's Mars is in his own sign, Scorpio. So there was an altercation that day with his family. Gemini is the energy of siblings, and it's in the 4th house of home and family. This was about money because when you look in the 3rd house of siblings, you see Taurus. Now, messages and phone calls. There was definitely some arguments that took place over the phone while he was at that hospital with his family. And see, people are not talking about those phone calls. See, because those phone calls played a major role in altering the energies. Arguments can definitely shift your energy. It can throw off your whole rhythm. And now next thing you know, you can't even drive straight. You getting into accidents because you're full of this conversation that you just had. Somebody got you fucked up and you haven't cleared that shit up yet. People are lying on you, or these altercations that are taking place and you're like, you know what, these motherfuckers got me fucked up. Wait till I get home. But you may not even make it home because you still driving around with that fucked up energy. You haven't cleared it out your energy yet. So there's a lot of things that can happen. Don't ever try to eat while you're fucked up. And I'm not just talking about off of drugs and alcohol. Okay? You could have had a conversation with somebody that you found out some information. You're like, hold up, these motherfuckers got me fucked up. Don't eat it with that energy because you just might choke. You're liable to choke. Keep your eyes on the road while you driving when your energy is fucked up. Because you're liable to be careless with your driving. Because whatever got you fucked up, it's moving around in your spirit. It's fucking up your rhythm. Okay, it's irritating you and it's frustrating you because you can't wait to get your hands on this individual, or you can't wait to get home so you can call and finish that conversation. There was a conversation that went on that day, and they need to pull his phone records. And that is exactly why I put it threw off his rhythm. Threw off his rhythm. That's the whole conversation that I talked about right there. So yes, I know there were messages and phone calls made that day. Okay? There are siblings involved. There is a romance involved. College and universities is a ninth house card. In the ninth house, I see Prodigy. Was he messing around with a college student? Now let's look at what's in the ninth house in his energy. Cancer. The home, family, and the mother. Could he have gotten a woman from college pregnant with his child? Because Cancer landed in the house of children. I'm just reading the cards. Now, let's pull a chart. Let's pull a chart and let's see how Prodigy articulates this message. I'm pulling a chart directly from his energy. Not the time of his birth, not the time of his death. I'm pulling it directly to all this energy that I'm tapped into. Ever since I began talking about him, he's been in my energy for the past 24 hours. I've been watching podcasts on him. Very intelligent man. Very intelligent. You know, and I'm sorry that he had to end his life like that his life ended like that. You know, but I definitely understand there's something deeper going on. Definitely something deeper going on. Open up a chart, Prodigy, that will help me understand, in your words, these voices that was pulled. Because there's definitely more to what meets the eye. This ain't about no choking off an egg. Although that might have been what happened at face value. There's a reason why things manifested like that. Pull a chart that's going to help me understand that reason. Y'all ready? I'm getting ready to cut the deck and open up a chart. Look at that. Mars in the 7th. Mars with a altercation. We just got finished following Mars. That's what let me know about this altercation and confrontation that he had. Now, Mars in the 7th house is a conversation, altercation, and confrontation with the significant other. The 7th house is Libra's house, relationships. This was a disagreement. This was a fight. Now, Mars was in Cancer that day. You can't make this up. You can't look. Mars was in Cancer that day. The same Cancer that landed in the house of children. There's a woman that landed in the house of children that came from the 9th house. The house of colleges and universities. A romance was involved. Possibly children was involved because it came out in the 5th house of romance and children. Now, when Mars in Cancer lands in the 7th house, guess what comes first? Capricorn. Let's pull this Capricorn chart. Guess what chart Capricorn is when Capricorn comes first? This is a 10th house chart. This was about his career. The stage that he was on. His career. Look what's in the 10th house. In the chart he just pulled. Libra. That same relationship that wasn't clear to him to begin with. 12th house. Remember I told you this is where our enemies are. Enemies are not always bad, but they always represent our blind spot. This was a relationship with somebody that represented his blind spot and saw an opportunity to take advantage. The same Libra that's responsible for altering his energy that led to his death. Whoever this person was and whatever type of confrontation they had with each other. Mars in Cancer in the 7th house. This was a woman. This was a woman. There is a woman that's involved. The moon rules Cancer. Where was the moon at that day? It was in Taurus, and it was about money. Look where Taurus is, in the house of children. Could this be money concerning children? Child support money? Could this be a woman that was after his money? Who? Who's involved? Tell me who's involved. Tell me who's involved. This could have been somebody that he was trying to help. Somebody from college and university that has a talent too. And they was looking up to him to help them. You know, a lot of these rappers, they have a lot of romantic interactions with people that they're out here helping. Everybody want to be successful. You can't trust everybody that has the power to help you succeed. Who? Who is in the energy of Prodigy's death? Two people, a suspect and a witness. Because Prodigy is not here to testify. And if he did, I'll let you know. I'm almost certain he'll let you know I didn't choke off no fucking egg. You know, and if he did, he would understand the deeper he said, yeah, I probably did choke off that egg, but I was fucked up at that time. Something was fucking him up. That's just like when you have AIDS. AIDS is acquired immune deficiency syndrome. When people have AIDS, you could die of the common cold. You could die of a fever. But when they tell you, yeah, so-and-so died, they had AIDS, but they died of a cold. How do you die of a cold? Well, because they had AIDS. And AIDS breaks down the immune system. And the immune system is required in order to fight off a cold and a fever. So if your immune system is deficient, which is what AIDS is, acquired immune deficiency syndrome, when your immune system is deficient, that means it's not strong enough to fight a cold. It's not even strong enough to fight a fever and a high temperature. So you can die from that cold. The same way a person who's spiritually fucked up or whose energy is fucked up can die from choking off of an egg. Because when your energy's fucked up, you can't do nothing right. Who is involved in the death and let's talk about this. Family in the first house. There was a confrontation. Now, in the first house, I see Capricorn. This is an authority figure. Okay? So, and authority came out too. Okay? Now, authority came out in the 7th house, which is the person he got into this altercation with. Now, this authority figure just might be a woman. That's right. There are women in positions of authority. Now, an authority figure as a woman is also the mother, especially when the woman's energy is attributed to Cancer. So there was a conversation with his mother or his wife. There was definitely a woman in a position of authority. This could have been a woman that he worked with, because when I look in the 7th house of the day it happened, I see the worker, Virgo, the worker of his career, because his career in Leo is in the house of work, which is Virgo's house. And that was his job. He was an artist, but that's also his career because the artist landed in the house of career. Now, Virgo comes from the group, a group of workers in his chart. But the day it happened, Virgo was also a group of worker that he was in a relationship with. Virgo in the house of the chart that was pulled from the cards is in the 9th house of colleges and universities. Somebody from a college and a university is involved. This could be somebody going to college to be a producer or business, or some type of women that has authority. Some type of a woman that has authority. This has nothing written on the back because I'm going to read these cards directly as it comes out. On top of that, his knowledge, wisdom, and awareness of truth and the things that they're hiding. He was definitely a threat. He was definitely a threat, especially to people who felt like, you know, you're a threat all by yourself. And here I'm working hard, getting all these documents, degrees, and diplomas so I could be a threat too. You know, and a lot of people like that, they pay attention to people who are a natural threat just because of what they naturally understand. You know, when you open up your spiritual eye, when your spiritual eye is open, you see things that a lot of people are still trying to go to school for, to learn about. And here, all you had to do is open up your third eye and you see it all. So tell me what happened. I'm going to pull 3 cards. Tell me what happened. It's going to be a short conversation. 1, 2, 3. Yep. So, Aquarius came out on fire. This is the group right here. 11th house. This is the group. This was his group. Because, see, look, 11th house. That's where he is. In the chart that was pulled from the cards. The 11th house is the group, the organization, the industry. The industry came out in reverse. Somebody from the industry that he was a part of, because Prodigy was a Scorpio. Industry group on fire. Aquarius. Now, what was they on fire about, though? Look where Aquarius is. In the house of money. The second house. That's Taurus's house. Now, look at where you have Virgo, water came out. Somebody was in their feelings. This worker, okay? This person that showed up in the 7th house, okay? Somebody got into their feelings. Mars, there was an altercation. It could have been about this individual, okay? Now, look where Virgo is in the chart that was pulled by the cards. It comes from the colleges and universities. This was also, I believe, a foreign woman, too. This was a foreign woman. Now, look where Virgo is in Prodigy's chart. In the industry, the 11th house. That's Aquarius's house. Now, you have an authority figure, Capricorn, that came out in reverse. Air is the conversation, the interaction, and the phone calls. Capricorn comes first from the charts. Capricorn, the day it happened, is in the 11th house, the industry. And Capricorn in Prodigy's chart is who he was in the altercation with. 3rd house, interaction, that's Gemini's house, the conversation. This was a conversation that led to a lot of disagreements because Capricorn came out in reverse. So his career was on the line because Capricorn rules the 10th house. And this is a 10th house chart that came out in the cards. All of this is what altered his energy. There was a conversation and an argument about money. And I'm seeing some insurance policies involved too. There is a sibling involved. Infidelity is also involved. And there is somebody from a college that's involved. I believe all of this right here is what tells the entire story of what really happened to Prodigy. So I'm going to go research this some more because I'm going to find out who this college individual is and this person he was in a romantic relationship with, and I'm going to research his siblings because I know there was definitely some messages and phone calls that's responsible for fucking up his energy. You know, and I'm not saying he's innocent. But there's definitely some energetic interruptions there. Now, Virgo also represents the medical field. Okay? This person could have been a college student. An intern. This could have been an intern working on him that didn't really know how to keep up with his levels, his IV levels and his oxygen. That could be the problem too. Because see, they be having these interns working on some serious shit. And you got to let the hospital know, look, I need me a real doctor. I appreciate what you're here to do as an intern, but I need you to get me a real doctor. That could have been the issue as well. It's going to come out. It's going to come out. And that could have been the argument that he had with the authority figure at the medical hospital. Get me a real doctor. You got these interns and shit not knowing what the fuck they're doing. That could be the reason why his family filed that lawsuit. Yeah. I'm also seeing a romantic relationship with somebody that works in the medical field too. Because keep in mind, he did have sickle cell. So he got a lot of medical attention. So when you get a lot of medical attention and you a man that loves women, women come along with that attention. You have doctors and nurses that fall in love with their patients. Yeah. So I'm seeing that too. But also infidelity. But y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. And that's my reading on Prodigy.